This is Stars and Scopes with your pal Uma Ruby. Updated every new and full moon with guidance based on planetary transits in the current sky and extra support from tarot. For accuracy, do listen to your rising sign first if you know it, but do feel free to listen to your sun, moon and rising if you'd like the full picture. If you're loving this work and you've got some coins to spare, throw them in the tin over at buymeacoffee.com/Uma Ruby and you can buy me a coffee. Okay, let's drop into it. Hello Gemini and Gemini rising. Welcome to your horoscope for the full moon happening in Sagittarius on the 14th of June at 9:52 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. If you are listening to this on Spotify, I highly recommend that you pop over to YouTube if you like the visual component to these readings. I've just spent the last couple of days dolling up, trying to rediscover my glamour, trying to get in line with the pleasure of how it is that we express ourselves on the outer. I've got a little history of that part of my life being something quite important to me, and I think with the ebbs and flows of what we've been going through these last couple of years, it really fell by the wayside. But I got to tell you, glamour spells are real. I feel like $100. Anyway, that's an important side note. We're here to talk about you and your seventh house and this full moon and what can be released and let go of in this space. So Sagittarius, as we spoke about 2 weeks ago, is your seventh house. That's intimate bonds. That's the most closest, that's lovers and the people that you hold nearest and dearest. It's the relationships that teach you how to be in relationship, how to be a human being. So this is really easily explained that it's in Sagittarius because that's how you approach relationships. You're really eager to learn and you're really strident and you move ahead and you absorb lots of different aspects of the other person that you're with, and you sort of internalize it and create with that, and it really, your eyes and ears are wide open in that sense. It's a beautiful thing to watch a Gemini in love. So this full moon is a great chance to let go of perhaps potential manifestations that haven't materialized, maybe things that need to be course corrected that can be sent back to Luna. Or it can be a time of celebration. It can be a real, think about what was happening 6 months ago when you were thinking about your intimates and your nearest and dearest. What were you subconsciously trying to call in? Did it happen? Great if it did. So I've got some tarot here that I want to speak to you very quickly about. So this is all the cards that are related. I've told you before, but each tarot card is given a specific set of degrees in the zodiac. So it's really great. You can sort of read a chart, a natal chart with tarot cards if you wanted to. And that's kind of what I'm doing here. So the moon is at 23 degrees in Sag, and that is the 10 of Wands energy. The sun is at 23 degrees Gemini, and that's the 10 of Swords energy. So these two cards really talk about the end of a cycle, the end of a passionate creative endeavor, and the end of slightly more difficult mental anguish. They're about accumulation, fruition, coming to a head. They're beautiful energies to have full moons at because of those reasons. There is that kind of moment of release that's always attached to the 10 cards. Difficult, scary sometimes when it comes up in a reading. It's the 10 of Swords, and this is the sun position, so this is maybe there's an illumination here for you. And this is Gemini too, so you can deal with this card, you're good at this stuff. But the 10 of Swords is that moment of just feeling completely annihilated by your thoughts, by anxiety, by depression, whatever it is, by being knocked over and left to finish out that cycle by yourself. The sun is in this position, and this card is the sun in Gemini. So this says to me that the sun, in some of the illustrated versions of the deck, there's the sunrise in the back of the card. So this is a real signifier of something difficult having had come to an end. And the support that you have from spirit and from your environment to see this through. So I shouldn't be laughing. It's just cat sitting for my sister and he's doing a poo. The moon is the 10 of Wands. So we're back to that idea of like a passionate... The moon is 23 degrees Sag, the 10 of Wands. So in terms of like a fire nearly going out, in terms of like a fizzer, in terms of like something that you've worked so hard on and you've built the foundations and everything, but it's just you're exhausted. You're just too exhausted to maybe even enjoy what you've built. This is interesting energy to think about when it comes to our nearest and dearest, our relationships. Where are you working overtime? And what are you getting in reception of that? How is that energy coming back to you in that sort of co-creation figure 8 space? I say that because the major arcana, the major secret of the tarot, the Sagittarius card, is Temperance. And Temperance talks all about that, a balance, of balancing fire and passion and drive with emotional literacy and with feelings and thoughts processes. It's about having room for both. You're being encouraged to have both, not to discount one or the other. That's a really important thing to remember about Temperance. So think about this in relationship. Think about the way that you approach these intimate partnerships, and is it all fire and passion? Not too much, but is it only fire and passion? Where's the other? How is the other side of the coin being received and balanced? So that's a bit of the astrology. There is also a T-square happening. So I thought that this was going to be a gorgeous... I should really do my research and do these I do them a week and a half in advance. That's as far as I go. But there is, like there's been with so many of these lunations this past year, there's been a difficult energy. So a T-square is when... So we've got the sun here in Gem. We've got the moon here in Sagittarius. They're working with each other in beautiful harmony like they do, giving us that visual spectacle of the full moon, a time to let it all back to lunar, release, release, release. We've got Neptune up here at 25 degrees, so in like a right angle T-square, butting in, trying to like muscle in and sort of get their voice heard in a way. So Neptune is the planet of illusion. It's the magic planet. Neptune's in Pisces right now. That's where that right angle happens. Pisces is happy to host Neptune. Neptune loves it in Pisces, like they're perfect bedfellows. Pisces for you is your 10th house of your career and your public self. So it's sort of your intuitive ability and how that's sort of read. You know, it's quite obvious for you that your intuition really guides you in where you're going to go to next in your career and your life's work. But where's the delusion there? What's the if we think about Neptune in a low vibration, what part of that is delusion and not magic? And the moon's wanting to retort. You know, Neptune's like, what about me? And the moon's like, maybe it's delusion. So think about, like, in conjunction with this relationship stuff that you're going to release and really work with and heal from, what is potentially happening in your career zone that could be read as delusion. So there's that. Now, I think I'll mention them quickly because that's the difficult aspect, but there's also some positive stuff happening with both the sun and the moon. The sun is in a trine, which is same family. So Sagittarius, Aries, both fire. Mars is in Aries right now, living it up. Mars is in a beautiful trine with the moon. So there is that sort of passionate voice, that fire really that's in your corner for this at the moment. I think we spoke about Mars a couple of weeks ago because there was an aspect there going on. We also spoke about Saturn in Aquarius at 25 degrees. It's a slow moving planet, so it'll be there for a while. It's actually just gone retrograde, which is okay unless it's your Saturn return, and that's big stuff to learn. What was I saying? So Saturn, restriction, the gag order in low vibration. In the high vibration, which is this trine energy, is the rule book. It's the guidebook. So how can we work with that? Work with how is your understanding of restriction and the rules benefiting you in this greater picture of your relationships, and what can you let go of, knowing that it's the rules and the regulations and the guide, the humanitarian guide that's working with you on this. That's the sky. I'm going to pull a couple of quick intuitive cards as well, just to see what Spirit has to say to you right now. There could be some messages in there that will help cap this off. Sorry if that's too loud on the microphone. But Spirit, what can you tell our Geminis after everything that's been said and done, what we've just discussed now? What messages can you give them as they listen to help them with this full moon? The Emperor. I'm sensing our Mars action happening here. There's a self-sufficiency with the Emperor. The Emperor is one of the major secrets. The Emperor is solid foundation of the Emperor's self-confidence and conviction. So in 10th house world, fire world too, if we think about Aries supporting your 10th house, your career zone, which is where Neptune's trying to be a delusionoid. What can you stand to be true against this illusionary force or potential? It could be you thinking to yourself, oh, I'm deluding myself when it comes to your career. The Emperor maybe is showing up to tell you, no, you're not. I got the Five of Cups. Interesting, this card's come out for a lot of people in different decks, because I've got lots here. Grief, a moment of stillness, a moment of, remember, grief's a cycle, so things go around. We don't, how do I describe it? We're not sad, grief, unfinished. It doesn't. It comes back around. If you hit points of pain in your life, as we all do, life does this. Remember, nature does this. If you're feeling pulled by a loss at the moment, and this could be something to do with career, this could be something to do with your relationships, your intimates. I'm going to pull the last card and we'll see what happens. Sorry to cut myself off, but I just wanted to, before I dive into something. Yeah. The Three of Wands. So this is Mars. So you're being supported on both sides by Mars and Aries. So that passionate voice. So the moon's in positive aspect with Mars in Aries. Howl if you need to at this full moon, because you've got full support to do so. And if it's something, if there's a recurring sadness that is cropping up for you again, maybe you're in tune with the lunar cycles to that point where it's sort of, you could, time your watch to it in terms of your emotional self. You're supported, honey. You really are. And the Emperor shows me that you have got this and you will take care of yourself, and you know how to do life. You're really good at taking care of yourself, maybe to your detriment in some ways. This could be a nice lunation 7th house stuff to let go some control and allow the people that are around you that care about you to do that, to care for you. Yeah, I just see the three. I just see, because that's where Mars is right now. The three of Wands, looking out, making the action. Surveying the horizon. I'll look into this line. Surveying the horizon. Much love to you, Gemini. This is great stuff. Great stuff. After your manifestation of self last 2 weeks, to release some potentially bad habits about relating to people, you know, whatever it is. Could be the releasing the grief, babe. Just let it out. If all you do at this full moon is cry, you've done well. I love you very much. And I've got a whole new menu actually on my website. I've designed some readings that are specific to the elementals. You can go over and read about that if you'd like. You can always tip me if you'd like to. Head over to buymeacoffee.com/Uma Ruby. Other than that, I'll see you in 2 weeks at the new moon in Cancer, where we can manifest together some heart-led activations. It'll be really beautiful. Much love. Full moon blessings. Take care.